say a glut,
A
clog,
glut,
a clog of lawyers.
clog of lawyers.
I know a clog of lawyers. I should ask somebody
Hmm.
in the clog.
Oh, a scum of lawyers.
Is that what it's called?
What you have Yahoo Answers saying? Oh boy, that makes sense.
So today on the podcast, we got a guest, Ajani, who's joining us. We had kind of a little brainstorm session about what to talk about. And, we like to talk about pop culture a lot on our podcast. And we're pretty short on pop culture these days. But one of the things that kind of came to our attention was the movie Godzilla versus Kong. So I watched Godzilla versus Kong, and Tim's watched Godzilla versus Kong. And we got talking about how they used Hollow Earth theory. So today joining us from far away is Ajani, and he's here to talk to us about some of the Hollow Earth stuff from Godzilla versus Kong and just Hollow Earth in general. Sorry about I almost threw the flat Earth thing in there. That's not the same.
Polar opposites.
Polar opposites. That's
Polar
right.
Opposites.
So, I guess first off, Ajani, we're gonna start off with an introduction to you. So we found you on your Facebook page, and we just thought maybe you just give us a little bit about yourself and about the Facebook page we found you from.
So, as you know, my name is Ajani. Regarding my Facebook page, I actually also am the creator of a Facebook group at first when I created it was called Hollow Earth Discovery. But I changed the name to just Hollow Earth in capital in capital letters. And so far I have like around a little bit over 400 members. It's not much compared to many other groups I've seen that have nearly 1,000. I mean, no, or around 1,000, 4,000, 7,000. But a lot of those groups been there for a couple of years. But right. So that's like, the summary on my Facebook, and what I do on Facebook.
So if a group has been around for that long, what I've found is a lot of those members aren't really active. They're not really there. So do you have some activity going on in your group?
I do have a lot of posting going on in my group. No, my group only been there for, I think, since last summer in my time, since like maybe for 5 months. My group has been there, but I do have a lot of activity. Have a lot of pictures of my group, a lot of people who share things, but I wouldn't say it's as active as other Hollow Earth groups that I'm in.
So how did you end up getting into Hollow Earth theory?
Well, what happened was, to start off, I always had a belief in, gods, like godlike beings, godlike civilizations, but I never really pinpointed what it really was. And around last summer, maybe 10 months ago, I was reading a book called The Book of God by someone who I know as Dr. Wesley. And in his book, he describes how gods who once inhabited the face of the earth, there was some type of calamity on the face of the earth, and these gods drilled into the earth.
Okay, so there is a lot of legends about it goes through quite a few different groups, right? All the way back through like Greek mythology, and then even in Christian mythology about
Right. Even in Nordic tradition, even in Nordic tradition is the Hollow Earth. It's some speculations that, as you see in Thor, Asgard is more like a Nordic way of saying Agartha. So Asgard, as we see in Thor, is really, like Agartha. Like this is like the Nordic interpretation of the Hollow Earth.
I hadn't heard that connection before.
Right.
So generally speaking, I'm not super familiar with Hollow Earth. I just more or less had an understanding that it's a theory that exists out there. And Tim was, I think you were I don't want to speak for you, but I think you were a little bit aware of it out there in the ether too. So we don't really know a whole lot about it, and we just thought maybe you guys you could give us a rundown of what the main proponents of it are. What are the main pillars that hold it all up?
Okay, gladly. Well, basically, the hollow Earth theory, hence the name, is that the Earth is hollow, and the main points of it is that there's a underground, or there's a civilization inside the Earth. There's an underground. Actually, I shouldn't say underground, but the main point of it is that there's an advanced civilization living inside the Earth, and essentially that the Earth is, hollow. Some believe that the Earth is not hollow. Exactly, is more like honeycomb, and like they have these huge cities in these honeycomb pockets of the Earth, and we believe human beings. Some don't believe they're human beings. Some believe that there's some tall reptilian beings, but most of us generally believe that they're just highly advanced human beings that made a civilization deep, deep inside the earth. And one of the core things that you'll hear is a central sun. Yeah, like they have a central sun down there. They have a sun besides our own, and this is said to was be causing the Ori. I can't really pronounce the name, but the Ori Borealis in the poles, right? And these are the main components of the hollow earth. It's just a subterranean civilization that houses I believe millions, if not billions, of people who have like technology and knowledge that far surpasses our own on earth. And that's really, and also these people are the authors of flying saucers. That these flying saucers that we see aren't actually from other planets. These sources actually originate inside the earth, just like Admiral Richie Byrd. I don't know if you're aware of him, but anytime you research the hollow earth, you're always going to come into the story of Admiral Richie Byrd, because that's what happened to me. He's one of the most pronounced men, or one of the most pronounced characters in this hollow earth theory. He was an admiral, and he went on an expedition to the North and South Pole. And over the North Pole, he allegedly recorded in his diary of flying into the hollow earth, seeing mammoth-like creatures, and speaking to actually the master or the chief of this hollow earth. Right, and this is really like one of the biggest topics that you hear about, and it was actually also in the movie. In the beginning of the movie, they spoke about, they briefly spoke about Admiral Richie Byrd, right? And this is like he's like one of basically the main people that you'll hear about, he's really like the star of the hollow earth. Oh, he's actually the only scientific person. He's the only one, like he's the only physical person that you could record that went to the hollow earth and came back to tell about it. Anything else that you know about the hollow earth or Agartha is usually like myths and lores like from tradition. But he's the only one in modern history that's been said to visit the hollow earth.
Okay, so Agartha is just more or less the widely accepted name for Hollow Earth.
Right, right. Agartha, yeah, right. Agartha is I can't remember the exact. I can't remember the language. I don't know if it's Arabic. I can't remember the language, but yeah, Agartha is kind of like the name of this civilization, and Shambhala I believe, is an Arabic word. It's said to be the capital. Like in Texas, you have Texas as, let's say, Agartha, and you will have Austin, the capital, as Shambhala, right? And Agartha is basically the name of this civilization. Hollow Earth is just saying that the Earth is hollow, and it's the name of the theory. But Agartha is said to be the name. Well, actually, I can't. Yeah, Agartha is said to be one of the several names for the inner earth.
Yeah, so Shambhala, that's related to Tibet as well, correct? I know that's part of their mythology.
Yes, yes, Shambhala is related to the Tibetan mythology, right? That this is the main city inside the Hollow Earth, right? And allegedly these Tibetan monks, they have entrances. There's entrances in Tibet, tunnels, and they happen to have knowledge of the Hollow Earth, right? A lot of the Hollow Earth theory, it does relate around, Tibetan monks. But not only them, because the Hollow Earth theory, I mean, many Hollow Earth tunnels are also, in South America, Brazil. South America, I believe, is the most prominent, and they have the most tunnels to the Hollow Earth in Brazil. I believe it's the most densely populated continent with uh tunnels leading to the Hollow Earth, because right, legends say that the Incas and the Dalai Lamas, they ventured into the Hollow Earth, like thousands of years ago. So right, this hollow Agartha, it spans from Asia to the Americas, and not just the Tibetan monks are largely known or largely related to this theory. Brazilians and the Incas are very a part of this topic as well.
So one of the things that I guess I'm picking up on is there are kind of like multiple entry points, we're saying, all over the globe. A lot of them
Right.
concentrated in Brazil.
Right. There's multiple. Well, speaking of the topic of entry points, yeah, there's multiple entry points. The largest are said to be the North and the South Pole. In other parts of the world, there's usually like tunnels that lead there, but the North and the South Pole are said to have like mile long holes, like I think maybe hundreds of mile long holes, like huge holes are said to be in the North and the South Pole. These are supposed to be the most prominent holes, but yeah, like you said, there's many entry points throughout the world. The Gobi Desert, Tibet, South America. There's many caves. The the Kentucky Mammoth Cave is said to have one of the entrances to the Hollow Earth. The In Italy, under the Giza Mountains, is said to be an entrance. Right, there's many entrances across the globe. The Bermuda Triangle is allegedly supposed to have an entrance. Right, there's many entrances, but what my point is, that is also religions and cultures that surround these, and two of the main cultures that surround the Hollow Earth or the inner world is South American cultures and the Tibetan monks.
Okay, well,
so
go
ahead,
Brian.
Tim. No,
you go ahead.
No, you.
No, you.
No, you.
Okay, well, I was going to switch over to pop stuff for a second, but do you have anything relating to what you just said there?
No, I was kind of going to go. I was just going to mention that it's funny that you mentioned kind of the Kentucky mountains. There was a movie that I was watching, and I was thinking about this after we kind of talked to you.
Well, I actually said Kentucky Mammoth Cave. That's actually what.
Okay. So there's I don't know about that one. Actually, I was there a couple summers ago. It's too bad I didn't find out about that one. I probably would have gone to visit. But there was a movie that I was watching, and it took place over. I think it was it was called Descent, and in that movie they talked about how there's like a series of tunnels down there that are so vast and intertwined with each other that you could actually figure your way who knows where. And I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of that movie, but that kind of just jumped into my mind when we started talking to you about all this stuff, is how many times that I've seen this particular thing kind of pop up in some form or another in pop culture.
Right. There's actually a lot of references to the Hollow Earth theory in movies, and this is like by no mistake the journey. When I first got into the Hollow Earth theory, the first movie that came across my mind was The Journey to the Center of the Earth. I mean, like this couldn't be coincidental, and immediately I watched the Journey to the Center of the Earth. Right, the journey to the center of the earth is obviously it just like just in the name, it just
Hmm.
in the name, journey to the center of the earth. And as I can't really, I never seen the movie, but in so long I seen the recent one. uh but that movie, well, when they got underground, it wasn't, as according to my recollection, the underground cave systems, it wasn't inhabited by people. They haven't found any. They haven't found what we call a Agartha. They probably found a surrounding cave, but right, Journey to the Center of the Earth is what really rung a bell in my mind. Once I got into the Hollow Earth theory.
I remember reading that book when I was a little. I was probably 12 or 13 when I read that book. The idea of the theory's been in my head for a long time, and then after I read that, I actually stumbled across Warlord Comics, which is a DC comic. I don't know if you've heard of that one, Ajani. Warlord
Oh,
Comics. You should search it up. It's a DC comic called Warlord, and in the comic, we have Vietnam War veteran Travis Morgan passes through a hole in the Earth's crust while flying over the North Pole in 1969, and then he landed on the underground world of Scartaris, which is a place very similar to Edgar Rice Burroughs' Pellucidar, they're saying. Pellucidar was another book series. I never read that one, but um, of course, all about the center of the Earth. So
wow,
I
that's
read quite a few of those comics, and I really like those ones because it's a warlord carrying a sword. What's not to like?
right. 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 Actually, I'm actually a big DC fan, so there's actually a lot that, I mean, I actually never heard of that because I'm more into the main, like Superman, Batman,
Hmm.
or the Watchmen. I really love the Watchmen series, but I actually never heard that, and I'm going to look into that, immediately, because I actually was on a little quest for, any Hollow Earth movie. Like when I first got into it, I was like looking for anything. I just wanted to see a movie Hollow Earth related. And since that one is, I'll definitely look into it. Right.
I think that one came out in 1975, so that's it's a little bit back there, but you can definitely find it.
Oh, right, right. Oh, right. And there's actually other movies besides King Kong versus Godzilla that deals with the Hollow Earth. Also Pacific Rim. I don't know if you ever seen that movie. It's it's the people that control the big robots, right? That movie is actually another is actually way is more like a modern movie. I believe like more like 2013, 14.
Yeah, I
Right.
did see that one, but I don't remember it very well though.
Yeah, but it's like in the movie, the breach that the monsters came out was in the deep in the ocean, and I'm just now finding today that this breach was actually connected to the Hollow Earth. So right, that's another a movie that has the Hollow Earth.
So we got a pretty good idea of what Hollow Earth is, at least a basic entry point to Hollow Earth. So where do we see your community going in the future, I guess?
Do you mean my Facebook group or us Hollow Earthers as a whole?
Well, I guess either both. Um, like is there do you guys collect up all this knowledge somewhere?
Well, that's actually, do we collect this knowledge? Well, I mean, honestly, we only have search engines, like Google, YouTube. This is the only way. But I'd like to get to your question, where do I see my community in the future? Well, that's actually a very good question that I'd like to answer. Well, being that the Hollow Earth theory is starting to become part of pop culture, I believe that this belief will have a lot more success, because due to the movies, like Pacific Rim, uh, not movies like Journey to the Center of the Earth, but things like, Godzilla, King Kong, Skull Mountain, and Godzilla, the King of the Monsters. But being that King Kong versus Godzilla was such a big movie, and this, and it's about the Hollow Earth. I believe that this will bring rise, because I heard people talking about the Hollow Earth theory that know nothing about it. My friend watched it. He told his friend, this is what Ajani, used to speak about. It's people that know nothing about the Hollow Earth, now they know. And I believe that it's gonna come, like to the same level as the flat Earth theory. The flat Earth theory is more like a theory that, whether you're interested in it or not, you just hear about it. The Hollow Earth theory is more like an underground kind of theory, in my opinion. I asked a lot of people, they really didn't know anything about it. But I believe that in the future, you know, is going to give rise to, more opportunities. Like it's going to be, I believe it's going to be more expeditions. There's going to be more questioning. Is going to be more thought on the Hollow Earth theory because it's coming to pop culture. So I believe that if they keep up with these movies or this, King Kong Godzilla series, is going to, put in the minds of people, wow, the Earth is hollow, just like many other conspiracies out there, like the end of the world, New World Order, alien invasions, like all those other conspiracies, no one really cared about until they're in the movies. Alien invasions. Who cared about an alien invasion until you see Independence Day? No nobody. And I think that's what's gonna happen to the Hollow Earth theory. Only those select few that just have it in them to want to research it, only they know. But due to these popular movies, now I believe everyone's gonna know, and it's gonna give us like a lot more ground, to work with. A lot more popularity.
I think another thing with that is, so in my particular case, I'm a spherical earther, but that doesn't fight against your theory.
A spherical earther?
Yeah, as in I believe in the round earth. I'm a round earther.
Around
You know what I mean?
Oh,
And that does not fight against your theory.
oh no. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't have a problem with that. It's the flat earther. Me, I believe that the earth is round. I just believe that in the center is hollow or honeycomb. But you're right. I believe in the spherical earth theory as well. But if you tell a hollow earther that, they're gonna say, the earth. I mean, if you tell a flat earther that, they're gonna say, they're gonna disagree. But I totally believe that the earth is, round on the outside. It's just what's, inside.
Yeah, and until we have proof, then
Right.
you can't say that it's not true until you have proof.
Right. We can't. Yeah. Right. We can't. And even for our sides as well, people who believe in the hollow earth, we can't really say. We can't really say that it's not, that it is true. Because we don't really have sufficient proof. We're going by hearsay, maps, and for those, on the contrary, who don't believe it's true, they don't have sufficient proof as well. You know.
So one of the things when I was searching you out on your Facebook group, the Hollow Earth Discovery, um, someone had mentioned, I can't, and I don't know who posted, but someone was mentioning maybe that there would be like expeditions in the future to either the North or South Poles. Do you know of any plans that anyone's going to be doing anything like that?
No. I have no. Well, actually, me myself, I actually planned to discover what I wanted. I had a plan to try to discover what was actually at the North Pole. So I did my research. I have some locations I may want to check out, but not really an expedition. What I planned to do was to get my own pilot license and to fly over the North Pole or over the location that I thought the hole or the breach would be, and or pay a pilot. But obviously these are very expensive. This is a very expensive plan, but I don't really know. I don't know of any expeditions. I heard of expeditions in the past that I believe were canceled, but I don't know of any any current, 2020, 2021 planned expeditions. I sent a invite to a group on Facebook that said it was an expedition to see what's really at the North Pole, but I haven't gotten accepted. But as far as what I know, no, I don't know any. I hear a lot of people talking, but I don't know anyone actually planning an expedition. And I believe that the reason why, because planning an expedition is like really hard, because when you're planning, if you're going by yourself or with maybe a group of uh 2, 5 people, that's one thing. But when you're going with, if you want to plan an expedition with like 20, 30 people, you have to pay, for the helicopters. You have to charge for a helicopter, the food, the resources, to get down there. You have to pay for people from where they're at to get down there. And this is like expeditions cost tens of thousands of dollars. It's definitely over $10,000.
I think the last estimate I thought was a minimum of $20,000 per person. When I was doing research for this podcast, which is a stiff price. But if you think about it, what an adventure! Whether or not you found anything to go to the North Pole or the South Pole, alternatively.
Right. That truly, that I actually was telling my friend that I was telling my mom that in my plans to go to the South Pole, I mean the North Pole, even if I didn't find it, it's I went to the North Pole. I seen something that most people don't get to see. I seen a barren Iceland. I flew over the North Pole. Most people, they can't, they don't, they wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, many pilots could afford that. Not saying they'll be interested, but right, that will be, something great to do. But my biggest goal is, to find the entry to Middle Earth. So right, and like you said, it's $20,000 minimum. I mean, there's no way you can save that up unless you're Donald Trump, you're Bill Gates. You can't really accumulate. It's like you're gonna be spending years, maybe 10 years, to build that kind of money up. So really, the only logical way to afford an expedition is that you're gonna have to create a fundraiser. You're
Yeah,
just gonna have, right.
I think I see a crowdfunder in your future there, Johnny.
Oh yes, yeah. I started a yeah, yeah. I started a GoFundMe account, and I changed the price so many times. It was 10,000. I don't know the price now. I believe it's starting here at 10,000, but I didn't really have any success. I just made it, and I put it in the group. I put it in my group, the Hollow Earth, and I put it in one of my friends, Buck Bradley. Buck Bradley actually has a story of his own. Yeah, it's a separate topic, but he actually has a story of his own. He has his own group called Hollow Earth Research Organization. I posted it in there, but I didn't have any success. For you know, I tried so many things. I tried changing the caption. I tried many things, to make it sound more appealing. But if I don't know, if they're going to want to donate or not. I may need to find a different way to get people to donate. Maybe use like a different fundraiser.
You know what? Why don't we talk about this after the podcast? I have some ideas.
Oh,
Um,
great, great.
I think this
um,
is really fascinating. Like
you
it's
got you got me totally hooked, actually. Like you said. So it's been in the pop culture. It's been in my life since I was a little kid. There's no time that some sort of center of the earth thing wasn't in the back of my head. Like I'm not saying that I'm a full on believer or anything, but I'm saying that as far as theories go, it holds as much water as almost anything. I mean, if you talk about a black hole or a quasar or whatever out thing in outer space, you have as much proof for your belief as they do for their belief in black holes. Maybe more proof. I don't know.
Isn't black holes already proven? It's not. It's
Well,
not.
until you go see one, you can't prove anything, can you?
Well, no.
Nobody's seen one.
Well, we just 2 years ago, actually almost to the day, we just got our first picture back of a black hole.
So, yeah, they tell us that that's what it was, but isn't everything like that?
Oh, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I get what you know, because we usually just trust the scientists. I really, I never really gave it any thought. I just thought, black holes are real. But right, I mean, you are totally
Oh,
right.
I'm sure
Don't
they are real, but we don't really know.
Yeah, we haven't physically seen one, no,
Yeah.
right.
Ryan, you got any other questions?
Well, I don't. I just want to say, like, it's kind of fascinating to hear this stuff right from you, Johnny, and it's good of you to talk to us about it. I was just going to say, I was going to try and segue into talking about the movie. I guess if you guys want to do that.
Oh, right. I was just about to say that was the last section. I read the text. The first text was like general questions about myself and the Hollow Earth theory, and the last segment was the movie related one.
Yeah. Do you guys want to get into the movie and just kind of talk about? I guess maybe before we get into the Hollow Earth aspect of it, what'd you think of the movie overall? There's not a whole lot of movies coming out these days, but this one, I don't know. I had fun watching it.
I'm super happy with that movie. I loved it.
It was a good time.
What did
Well,
you?
my opinion of the movie, I honestly didn't actually see the whole entire movie. I seen like an hour's worth of the movie where I believe the main how like I know a lot about the movie because I seen a friend who seen it, but me, I only got an hour worth of the movie. And I mean the movie, I grew up watching King Kong. I really love Godzilla, so I told myself, why not? And the movie so far was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good, and I got a lot more attracted to it because it's centered, the Hollow Earth theory.
So, out of all the elements in the movie that surrounded, I guess the Hollow Earth part, and we spoil everything on this podcast when it comes to movies. So, at some point in the movie, they take Kong and they go into Hollow Earth with Kong
Right,
because
right.
they,
That's in the beginning. That's
yeah,
in the yeah, I remember that part. That's in the first 20 or 30 minutes.
yeah, and he, I guess the mythology within that movie is that Kong's giant ape species. They're all down. They all come from Hollow Earth, and they
Right,
take him
right.
down there to see if they can find more giant apes like him, so that
Yeah,
he can be
right,
kind of at home, right?
right.
Um, so you got to see, like, I mean, we got to see like I don't know, if maybe it was half an hour, 40 minutes where it took place inside the Hollow Earth, and you got some really good scenes with Kong there. If you saw all those parts, how accurate or how much of the Hollow Earth theory did they kind of put into researching all those scenes and how it visually played out to you?
Well, actually, first, I like to say that the reason why they went to the Hollow Earth, it was actually because an energy source, right? It was actually an energy source that was really strong in the Hollow Earth, and they went there. They used Kong as a method on getting into the Hollow Earth. Well, to answer your question, I believe that they did, a pretty good depiction, of the Hollow Earth. I believe that they gathered their evidence pertaining to the Hollow Earth. They went to Antarctica, which is actually one of the main places. They went into some kind of base, and I think they went to sub 39 where they found some portal where I think that their facts pertaining to the Hollow Earth was actually very on point. But I'm not actually too fond of how the Hollow Earth looked. It looked kind of narrow.
Mhm.
That's not what I really interpreted it to look like. Basically, like when we look into the sky, we don't see anything. I thought the sky from the ground in the Hollow Earth was going to be so high that it's just going to look, like normal. Obviously, you're in the ground, but I didn't think it was like it looks, very narrow. I wasn't expecting it to look like that because that's not how it's depicted most times in like the maps. But But right, I believe that they did a good job on the movie, but the only thing I kind of disagree with is I mean, obviously I don't believe that there's monsters down there. You know, that's all part of the movie. That's not part of the Hollow Earth theory, although some do believe that there's huge creatures down there. I mean, honestly, who really knows? I mean, down into a place that we know nothing about, there could be, but that's not a part of, that's just King Kong lore, in that been segmented into the Hollow Earth theory. But right, that's the only part of it that's really I don't believe is true. But I believe that as far as the the facts and evidence go, I believe that they did their fair share of research uh for the movie.
So I kind of got the same feeling. I didn't like the depiction of it being narrow. Like most of the times I've seen the Hollow Earth depicted, there was a sun in the center, and there was a lot of room, like as
Right, right,
much
right,
room
right,
as there is on the surface of the Earth, almost,
right,
not quite. And so instead of being convex, am I getting this right? Instead of being convex, it was concave, or vice versa. So um, the horizon will always be curving towards you because you're standing basically on the underside of what we are standing on.
right.
Whereas in that movie, it seemed like it was more flexible than that, and I didn't really understand the layout.
Right. That's actually what I thought it was gonna be, like a sun in the center, not like a cavern, because the way they made it was more like a cavern where gravity. Like I think I understand what you're trying to say. You're saying that basically when you go to the other side, it's like the gravity switching, where you're standing on the other side. Right. And it's like the
Yes.
sun is in the center. That's right. That's exactly what I thought it was going to be as well.
Okay, so now I want to go sideways because I always want to do that. Um, so there was a book in the Deathgate Cycle, the Deathgate Cycle #2, called Elven Star. This book is a little ways back, but it was by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. Now, the reason I bring this book up is because in that particular fantasy book, the world was rebuilt, and the way it was rebuilt is they put the sun in the center and they put all of the earth around it looking in on it. So you stood on a curving horizon where you could always see the sun and the sun never set, right?
Right.
Um, so now in this world, they ran into a problem which you would never anticipate unless you thought it through, um, because the sun never goes down, right? It's always up. So if the sun is
Right.
always up and the weather is always constant, what do plants do? They just grow and grow and grow. So in this particular book called Elven Star, the plants grew all the time. Insects never died; they never got killed off by seasons, etc. And because of this, there was a huge layer of undergrowth on the ground, which meant that you could never actually find rock anymore because it was so covered with vegetation. No one even knew what a stone was. Like if you had actual dirt, you were doing something because you'd have to dig for it, right? Um,
Yeah.
so how does that fit with the Hollow Earth theory? Because I know if the sun is in the center, there weather.
Right. According to my knowledge on the Hollow Earth theory, that the temperature, I believe researching that the temperature was a steady 75 degrees. It was never too cold and it was never too warm. It was a perfect temperature for a human being. When you go out, I mean, if they're going to create a paradise, why not have paradisical weather?
Hmm.
Uh, right. We, as human beings, we don't, obviously, like, we're all different. We all don't like when it's too cold, and we don't really like when it's really too high, like 90s, hundreds, 80s, 75 for me. That's like perfect weather. I mean, I don't feel too cold. I don't feel too warm. And that's said to be, as far as the cloud weather goes, I have no idea. I don't believe it rains. But as far as the temperature goes, it's a warm temperature, but not too warm.
So that leads, and if that's the case, so that'll be just like in this book by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. The plants will never die, and the bugs will never die, and you will get these giant predators because there'll be just so much food. Like things will be too good, like it'll be too easy to live there, and That means there's no reason you won't have giant creatures.
Right, right. So you're saying that it was giant creatures because they was eating too many bugs and it was like
Well,
easy to.
it's just, well, not only bugs, but like everything. Like the more food there is, the easier it is, the more likely you're going to have, well, one of the reasons we're limited on size is because we just don't have the resources, right? Especially up here in Canada.
Oh, right, right, right. So it could have been, like an evolution thing, like maybe through thousands. I mean, who knows how long the Hollow Earth been there? Maybe through thousands, millions, billions, or trillions of years. There was these creatures that been here, and there was like you said, the plants grew, and with the plants that come bugs, and the creatures that eat these bugs, most likely mammals, I'm assuming, like it wasn't evenly balanced, like it was right. It was so easy to to catch prey that they just kept on growing and growing. Right. And I mean that could be related to the King Kong, these giant monsters, and King Kong versus Godzilla. I mean, it could be related to that. It could really exist. That maybe through thousands of years of evolution, gorillas, or maybe not gorillas and lizards like Godzilla and King Kong, but maybe some kind of monsters down there, uh, you know, they were just eating and eating, and they just happened to grow supersized, because it was no competition. Like if human beings had unlimited resource of food and we didn't have to pay for it and we just kept on eating, I'm pretty sure over time our genetics are just going to grow. We're just going to get thicker. We're just going to get bigger and bigger. And that's possibly what happened to, right, like you said in your book. But I believe that that could be, you know, the explanations of King Kong versus Godzilla. But who knows? It could have been God just created big monsters. Well, that book sounds like very interesting, and it sounds like related to King Kong versus Godzilla.
Got anything to add to that, Ryan?
I don't know. It's just very interesting.
Yeah, well, if
Right,
you look at human history, so if you even go back far enough to go when they started making steel armor, so the knights were actually not that big. They were tiny people compared to now, and one of the reasons
right,
they suppose that might be is because back then they just didn't have the food. So on average, humans now do grow a few inches taller just right now. There's no reason to expect that that'll stop happening over generations as we have easy access to food, that people won't be taller just over on average. Because genetically, um, since we have the resources, back in the olden days, if you didn't have enough food and you happened to be on the larger side, you had trouble because you just didn't have the resources. But now, so that favored small, short people like me. Whereas now, if you're 7 feet tall, it's no problem, hitting McDonald's a few extra times. So
right. And actually, there's a book called Olaf Jansen. He's one of the people that said to discover the Hollow Earth, and he actually said that there were giants inside. So your explanation actually has very is very concrete. It has a lot of support, because a guy that went to the Hollow Earth allegedly said that there's actually giant 14 feet tall human beings in there, and this could be what you're saying. It could be that this is a paradise. This is everything that they need for their human survival. This is all provided for them in our society, or at least in America. We have to work in order to eat, and when we work, we really only, if we have a family, buy limited amounts of food. But this is a paradise where food, I'm assuming, is there for you. And And right, and I believe right, and your claim is actually very interesting because coincidentally is actually said to be giants inhabiting the Hollow Earth. So right, so it could be because the human beings like the creatures, they have unlimited food, and through maybe millions or thousands of years, they tended to get taller and bigger.
Do you mind if we talk about the rest of the movie? I know you haven't watched the whole thing yet, Ajani.
No, no, I haven't.
Because
I
the
haven't
battle scene
seen
at the end, like I had some thoughts about that. Um,
the. ba-
the battle scene where they're fighting amidst the skyscrapers. So all I could think about while I was watching this was the old game Rampage because I played that in the arcade and I loved that game.
It's
And
actually a movie. I think there's a. I don't know if it's related to the game, but I think there's a movie with a white gorilla called
yeah,
Yeah,
Rampage.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That is.
Oh,
But that's all I could think about while I was watching this fight amongst the skyscrapers. Like, what do you think about that one, Ryan?
Oh yeah, I totally got Rampage vibes off there, especially with the knocking over buildings and stuff like that, and just the sheer madness of it all. It just really brought out the Rampage vibes. But I think Rampage is really based off of well, it pretty much owes everything to Godzilla and King Kong mythology over the years. There was another one too that I used to play, Primal Rage.
Oh yeah,
I used to play that one too, and it kind of reminded me of that. It was a giant monster game, also. I think it was more like prehistoric monsters or whatever. And in prehistoric times, I don't think there was any building smashing or anything like that. But yeah,
you
it
know,
definitely had those vibes.
it's just refreshing to watch a movie where you just get to enjoy some gratuitous violence without having to worry about that part of it, adding up. Because you've already accepted a giant lizard has come that can shoot laser beams out of its mouth. So at that point, you can, you can accept the fact that he's going to get his face jammed into a skyscraper.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right, right. I know I haven't seen the whole movie, but I don't think they showed the inhabitants of the Hollow Earth, did they?
No, really, really, when it came to the Hollow Earth part, it's at some point they do come out of it, and there aren't really any inhabitants shown. They kind of show remnants. I think there's like
Yeah.
remnants of Kong species being the
Yeah.
rulers of Hollow Earth, more or less. But
Because he found that
Right,
axe
right.
down
I
there.
seen it.
So
Right, right.
they
The axe
suggest
with
that,
Godzilla's fin. The axe with Godzilla's fin, right? I
yeah,
I think right.
yeah, it looked like that they were setting it up to say at one point, King Kong came from a race of protectors of the earth who lived in the center of the earth. They had a huge society. They had a huge battle with lizard-like creatures, and maybe they're extinct, but we don't know. Maybe because they only explored a very, very tiny portion of the area.
Right, right, they did. I mean, most likely in the next movie, they're going to get. I mean, this is actually very interesting. I mean, who knew from the beginning that King Kong and Godzilla were actually even related? I mean, when you watch the two movies independently, who knew down the line that these creatures are actually be, related somehow? But right, I think that the ancestry is very interesting. That King Kong is not just King Kong. I mean, honestly, watching King Kong, I just thought he was just a huge gorilla on an island that had no origin. I didn't think they was gonna go deep enough as far as to venture into his origin. I thought he was just, a big gorilla somehow, and they'll keep it like that. But in King Kong versus Godzilla, they're now getting into the ancestry. So King Kong is not just King Kong; he comes from a long line of huge gorillas or like huge ape-like monsters, and Godzilla is not just Godzilla. He comes from a long line of tall reptile like creature, and like you said, that due to the axe, when King Kong went to his little throne, it was an axe from one of his, I guess, race with Godzilla's fin. So that's going to show, like you said, that there most likely was a huge war. But maybe King Kong like you said, maybe King Kong's people were the protectors of Godzilla. Because as you've seen in all the movies, Godzilla, he destroys. I mean, Godzilla, I don't believe was ever really a hero. King Kong, he showed much heroics, and I believe that maybe the Godzilla creatures or Godzilla's race, they were trying to destroy the land, and King Kong's people was defending the land, hence the axe.
Yeah, and you're probably not going to see in a movie a lizard type creature that they're going to make sympathetic just because they're cold-blooded or whatever,
Right,
and
right,
they're going to make that the enemy no matter what in a movie if they can.
right,
So
right,
obviously then King Kong being warm-blooded, he's going to be the winner as far as whether or not he's our friend. But he
Yeah,
does support, he is a giant as well, right?
right.
So
He is a giant. And I mean honestly, King Kong, like in the fight, is much more versatile than Godzilla, because he has more control over his appendages. I mean, like if you're watching a gorilla fight a lion, obviously a lion, has strong teeth, is very strong, fast, but a gorilla, a monkey has much more control, is much more flexible, is much more acrobatic. And that's like King Kong's. King Kong has like an advantage over Godzilla, because when Godzilla is strong. I mean, Godzilla is probably stronger. I believe Godzilla is probably stronger than Kong, but I believe King Kong and his people, they have a lot more advantages due to their flexibility and strength, and also not just pertaining at war. Well, maybe even further down the line, maybe they used to live in harmony. It could be possible that maybe even further down the line, like deep down the line, Godzilla's people and King Kong's people once lived in harmony, and maybe through something, it was a war. And I believe that's what's going to be in the next movie. I don't believe that they was warring since the very beginning. What I believe is that they used to live in harmony, and there came a war. And being, how they depicted it inside King Kong versus Godzilla, I'm assuming that the that Godzilla's people attacked, the gorilla people. And right, that I think that's how most likely, how it happened. But we'll see a lot more in the next movie. And actually, if you want to know what's gonna happen in the next movie, there's always good, to watch the post-credit scenes. Because in, like, all the Marvel and DC movies, that's kind of how you get to find out what's gonna happen in the next movie.
Did they have a post-credit scene on this one, Tim? I don't remember. I think I watched to the end, but I don't remember there being one.
Well, try to watch to the very, very end, because a lot of times the post-credit scenes, they could happen after, like I said, after the credits, because they have a short credit. So, and a lot of movies, they have short credits, then they have the post-credit scene, then they go to the regular credits. Or sometimes they could have the full credits and then they have the post-credit scene at the very end of the movie. Or you could just research it. You could just YouTube it. You could search it on YouTube, King Kong versus Godzilla post-credit scene, and they'll show you if it was or wasn't. Because right, YouTube will always be the best place.
I'll
And
have
and
to.
you also get a lot of explanations on YouTube. Like if you don't really because and like if you don't understand what it really meant, it will be someone on YouTube who's going to explain, the significance of the post-credit scene.
So this is I don't know, kind of a weird time, I guess, for movies. This one here came out. I don't know if the movie theaters are open in New York, but they're not open here. So I watched this one at home on a rental, and it's kind of I guess this movie's pretty successful. I haven't really. It's kind of hard to figure out what the kind of numbers are. With the movies being the way that they are now, it's kind of hard to discern. Like, I guess the measure of success, whereas we always used to get inundated with box office numbers and dollar figures and everything like that. Now it's kind of a blend of both those dollar figures and streaming. So long story short, I know I'm a little bit in the weeds here, but I'm hoping to see a sequel to this movie because I think it was a lot of fun and it was just pure escapism, and I think a lot of people are going to need that right now instead of some of the more serious stuff that we've been seeing. Not that there's anything wrong with any of that stuff, but just to have a big smash 'em up, beat up movie that's kind of fun is great once in a while. And I'm hoping that they have a little bit more exploration here, because I think one of the more popular elements of this story was the Hollow Earth bit. And I'm hoping that for the sequel, we kind of get into exploring that a little bit more and seeing some more of that stuff. What do you guys think?
Yes, yeah. I think that the Hollow Earth was a big topic. They actually already they spoke about it briefly inside King Kong Skull Island and Godzilla King of the Monsters, but right, it became very prominent, like a huge part. Like they said it over and over again. Of the Hollow Earth theory, and I believe that right, this is going to become a big part of the series now. And I told my friend that I honestly believe that they're going to integrate Pacific Rim in this. Like, I mean, it's just so obvious to me. Pacific Rim is basically like Godzilla. If you watch it, the monsters they look somewhat like Godzilla, and I believe they're gonna have a three-way. It's gonna be King Kong, Godzilla, right, and Pacific Rim, right. But like you said, I think that that the Hollow Earth is gonna be a very big part of this series of King Kong Godzilla. Whatever the next movie is gonna be, is it gonna be King Kong versus Godzilla 2? I don't know. Is it gonna be King Kong Godzilla Ancestry? I have no idea, but it's definitely going to elaborate on the Hollow Earth now, like more than ever.
Well, when they do, we're hoping that they get you as a consultant.
Right, right. I mean, yeah, right. Hopefully, I will really love that because I actually been invited to to be on a documentary series on Vice, and was going to discuss the Hollow Earth theory. The lady known that I created a group, and well, actually, what happened was that I have a friend called Zoe Grimwood. She was in another group, and 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 then when I created my group, I added her and I made her admin, and a director came to her inviting her to join to start to be on the series, but she was in England, so she referred me that I'll be a good candidate for the series, and I got interviewed, and I'm just now waiting for the producers of the series to get back to me. The to me, it's not really a guarantee, but yeah, I'm waiting their decision. I'm waiting for their decision. I think it's likely that I'll be on the show, and right, and and I kind of want to get my face out there because when they see my interest, I'm hoping that anything Hollow Earth related, if I could get my name out there, if I'm on a popular network, anything Hollow Earth theory related, I may be a good candidate. And I was thinking that maybe in the Hollow Earth related movie, I could star on. That's definitely one of my. And I mean, and at that point, if I'm already in the movie, making a 20,000 fundraiser would be more like a piece of cake, or wouldn't be as difficult as it is now. But I'll definitely have some fame after I you know am on the documentary.
Well, we're certainly hoping so. That sounds like a great opportunity for
This
you.
is this is pretty exciting for you there. And I have some thoughts. So I don't know. Have we covered everything we're going to cover today?
Yeah, I think we're through the agenda that of the things we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, because we're just over an hour, so we should probably wrap up here.
So I guess the only thing we haven't touched on is the last thing on the notes that I put out there is where can people find more information on yourself and Hollow Earth?
Well, I'm more like I'm just an ordinary person who decided to venture into the Hollow Earth. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm not on Wikipedia or anything. Well, you could always, check my Facebook and, join my group. And if you want to know more about the Hollow Earth, I suggest that you just research it, Google it. There's plenty of it's like plenty of information out there. Everything I know about the Hollow Earth, like, it's all from Google, it's all from YouTube, and it's all from a couple books that I read. So it's as easy for me as it is for everyone else to research about the Hollow Earth. Just Google Hollow Earth, and I'll tell you everything you need to know.
So the group you're talking about is on Facebook, Hollow Earth Discovery.
Right. No, it's called Hollow Earth now. It was when I first created it for the first several months. It was called Hollow Earth Discovery, but I changed the name. But right now it's called Hollow. It's called Hollow Earth. Yeah, and yeah, that's the name of the group.
Okay.
So we'll make sure we post those links in our notes on the page for this podcast. And if you didn't catch that, you can check it there.
Right. I'll definitely do that.
Okay, well, why don't we wrap up here? Johnny, don't hang up on us. We're going to talk after we're done recording here. But I think that's a wrap for our podcast.
It is. Well, thank you very much for coming on. It was great to talk to you and to get a little bit of insight into what Hollow Earth is all about, besides learning it secondhand from a giant monster movie. So it's thank you very much again, and we hope to hear back from you, and all the best to you.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's been great talking to you. Actually, I'm really interested in this topic right now.
Right. Thanks. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. I'm very interested in joining, any podcasts, any videos, to get my name out there, to become a part of something. Because in this Hollow Earth thing, my goal is to get my name out there and become a part of something, and gain a bigger name, so my name could be a staple on the Hollow Earth theory.
Well, we'll see what we can do to make that happen.
Right. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, as always, it's been a slice.
Yeah, it's been a slice. We'll talk to you next week or whenever you listen next.
Oh, I don't know. No, it's it's a long, it's a really long drive. I haven't done it. There's a couple places. If you look up north, a couple years ago, I was going to go